Hello everyone, this is Ali Reza. Before I start this episode's recording, I noticed something when I was post-editing the previous episodes, and that was how Unity was addressing the versioning in the project file. I'm not sure if it changes anything or not, but here when you were assigning the top version, it was a dot, change it to underline. And at the end of Unity version, just Unity subversion becomes the subversion replace the dot with an underline. So at the end, this will become, for example, 5 underline 2, okay, and underline if we need to. So that being said, by the way, I built my solution. That being said, today we will take a look at the process of generating a node graph. And that was what I called node editor. And then I decided that node graph is a better name. So a node graph has an editor window, a base node and base graph, a way to connect the nodes to each other, and then some things that we will come to that in this second cycle. For the editor window, we will have a toolbar, a work view, a property view, a help view, and a status view. For the base node, we will have jobs to draw the GUI, and if the node has any commenting, draw the commenting. And by the way, we will take a look at how we can generate GUI skins and GUI styles by the code inside our utility stuff, inside especially the utilities. But continuing on the node graph, when we want to connect the nodes, of course, we need to connect the nodes. We want to be able to break those connections, and we want to be able to draw the connections. Well, when I'm designing and developing this guy, parts of the utility class, the utility project will shaped. First of all, it's utilizing font awesome. Then in abstracts, I will use iCopy. In the infrastructure, I will have inline value, unique ID, and connection. Serializable dictionary, well, we'll see if we need it or not. Utilities, I will have GUI utilities, GUI style utilities, and this guy should be with capital. Graphic utilities, okay? Conversions and reflections are for future. So that being said, let's start by stopping our projects and get busy. So you remember this guy? We have our projects folder, and I will make a chapter 1 here, and let's put a 0 there. Here I will have a Unity projects and one for Visual Studio projects, so that I get more organized. Inside Visual Studio projects, I will have a DLL references, just in case I need it. Okay? I don't think I really need it, but we will see. So here is where my project will sit, and here is where my Unity will sit. Okay, cool. Then I want a solution name, and I will call it RPG. RPG dot API. No. What should I name it, for God's sake? Core. Why not? The project name. Well, the first one is utilities. Utility. Buzz.utility. It has editor and generate solution, so generate. And we get these guys. For the second one, I don't want to generate the solution. The solution name is the same, but it becomes node graph. Okay, and it becomes bus.node graph and generate. So I get all of that. Now I can open the core. And we have the utility, we have the utility editor. We want to add the other projects ourselves, so it is here, the node graph. And remember that you need to add the editor stuff later after the main one. Okay? So the node graph will use a reference in the project, in the solution, for the utility. That's all it's being used. Okay? The node graph editor will use the utility and the utility editor. And that's it. Now, for the starting project, it doesn't change anything, but I want the node graph to be my starting project whatsoever. Okay? Inside editor, utility editor, if I hit Alt Enter and going to resources, you see that it says it doesn't have any resources. Generate one for me. And I do that. Same for the editor one. Alt Enter. Alt Enter and resources and generate one for me. That's that. Now, to use font awesome, we need to look for font awesome. And what is font awesome? Well, it's a font that is awesome. And I'm a bit slow right now because I'm uploading the videos to 3D Boss. So you see that it says a font awesome cheat sheet. Okay, that will work. Let's open it and let's take a look. So the cheat sheet has all these fonts in it that really don't look like fonts. If it opens it, come on. Come on, open. But yeah, there are tons of fonts in tons of shapes in just one font for you. And 4.4, okay. Ah, did they upgrade it now? What was my version? I'm not sure. I think it was 4.4. So yeah, they look awesome. Awesome. But how can we use it? Well, first of all, you need to go into the root of this font awesome folder. Not GitHub, yeah. So here you will see a big, huge download button. Okay, so you need to download it. Let's do it. In the meantime that it's downloading, we need to take a look at here. Each font has a code, but this code is for web development and we can't use it like this. All the thing we need is what is F and after F, okay? Come on, download it, please. Let me pause the syncing so that it will be faster. Faster, I said. Yeah, download and save. It takes really short time because it's one font alone. Okay, so we have this guy, font awesome. Inside it, we have fonts, and what we want is this OTF or TTF. Okay, so now we need to run a Unity project to use it. So close, you come down, and right now I don't have any, so yeah. Chapter 1, Unity projects. Oh, hell. Okay, I know what to do. Control C. Move it out. And why are you not happy? Because the Visual Studio is accessing it. Close our Visual Studio and try again. There we go. So I want a new project with this name inside this folder. I should have done it beforehand. And it's 3D, yes, and create the project. It will generate it for me, of course. Why shouldn't? Then I want the assets plugins folder to go back inside the plugin, the assets. Move here. And I can now shift this guy. So, inside Unity, plugins. Well, I want a resources folder. So, create folder resources. And inside here, I think it was fonts or font. Let me double check my notes. Utilities U, and at the end it's font. Yeah. So here I need to extract this TTF, but if you are familiar with Unity, you can't directly put that TTF from the RAR file into here. You need to extract it somewhere and put it back here. Okay. Now, if I select this guy, you see that it's smooth, dynamic, with include font data. That is all we want because it generates these guys for us because it's dynamic. Okay. And I change it to font awesome. Okay, cool. Now we can continue with our Visual Studio project. So come back there, come back to the core, reopen it. Okay, inside utility, we want a class called FA for font awesome. Okay. Now, this will be a static class. There we go. Here we will have public constant string. And what will I do, and what you would do if I hadn't done it beforehand, was that coming here, get a name and use it. What I did is, for example, for FA 500px, I used capital PX 500 equals to something. Now here is the important point. We want \u, so it will be converted to unified UTF-8, okay? And we will get what comes after the X, so F26E. Copy, paste, okay? Wherever I am in code, for example, whenever else, I can use fa.px500 to get this icon. Now, this is a hell. I can tell you that it took me 5 or 6, I think 4 or 5 hours to put all these code. They were sometimes duplicated, and as Elga says, and yeah, there are a lot. Okay, so what I do right now is I copy the whole thing. And there are tons of fonts there, I know. Copy the whole thing and paste it here, and then talk with each other. So, as you see, at the end of the class, I have a static font that is private. And then I have a getter around it. What I do, I check if it's null, then get it from resources, and then return it. Now, the font was being used somewhere on top. Around here-ish. I think I commented it. Oh no, it was font. And I changed it to font icon and font icons so that I can utilize this font here. And that is your font awesome. I will share it with you guys as a resource later on. And just to remember myself, come on, can't you do it once for true? Okay, copy it, and I will paste it inside my Dropbox folder that I'm sharing with Steve as descriptions. Okay, and here, paste. Okay, so that Steve will see it as a resource. Now, after having font awesome, we will need to start, and you can close. Okay, we need to start our node editors basically, and I don't need my solution builder anymore. Okay, so I will come and add these guys inside the utility editor because honestly they are more about utilities and they are bases. When I'm developing something that is a base, I will put them inside utilities. So for the editor, I will have different structures that we will generate in future little by little. But for time being, let me stop the namespaces I have. So I have a namespace called drawer, another one that is called extension, another one that is called utility, and now I will add editors here. Okay, inside editors I will add a class that it says base view. Now base view is, let me look at my notes. Okay, it's a serializable class. I'm not going to serialize this guy into hard drive, but because it will be used inside editor, whenever you call a class that is serializable inside editor, Unity will hand serialization for you by itself. So it will have a public string view title, a public rect, and it imports the Unity engine for me, view rect. It will have a public GUI skin, that is view skin. It will have a, oh well, wait. No, I will add it later. Okay, so we will have a constructor and nothing in it. So we say view title, view rect actually equals to new, common type, new rect. Then view title equals to string.empty. And we call a method called getEditorSkin. After that, we have an override for this guy that accepts a title, and we paste and we remove this line. And finally, another constructor that accepts all of them. Although I'm not really using it, so why should I have it? So we will have a public virtual void update view. It accepts a rect for editor rect, a rect as percentage rect, an event @ event, and that is it. Okay, so where are you going? Okay, so here we say if view skin equals to null yet, get editor skin, and return. Otherwise, we say view rect equals to new rect that uses editor rect.x multiplied by percentage rect.x. Control C, comma. Y by Y, comma. Z, and we don't have Z, width, with width, and finally the height by height. And finally we say if graph that I didn't add yet does not equals to null, we say current graph that I didn't add yet equals to graph. Okay. Finally, we use get editor skin, so it is a public, it's a protected actually. Protected virtual, no, I have more. So void, and I'm checking my notes. I'm not good at it. Process events that say accepts an event. And finally, we will have our protected void get editor skin. And get editor skin will say that view skin equals to editor GUI utility inside Unity editor that is pro skin. If that's the case, we want to call our GUI style utility that we don't have yet dot dark skin. Okay. Otherwise, we call the same thing, but we go for light skin. And I totally forgot how much job I had to do inside this guy. So, what is the graph and what is the current graph? Well, the graph is graph schema. We don't have it yet. And we call it graph. And for current graph, it's again a public graph schema, and we call it current graph. Now, as you see, we have some errors here, 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 here. What is a graph schema? And what is the graph actually? A graph is a scriptable object that keeps the nodes inside it. Graph schema is another scriptable object that keeps parameters related to the graph that is only being used inside Unity's editor. So if you want to go in there, that we should go in there, inside utility, I have to put a graph, no, actually, a common namespace, and inside that I will add a class called graph. Okay, and I will delete it and leave it empty. The only thing we know is that it's a scriptable object. And I will have a class called node, and I will leave it empty right now, and we know that it's a scriptable object. In contrast with these two, I will have a common here, and inside here I will have a class that is called graph schema, and all we know is that it's a scriptable object. And we will have something that is called node schema, And again, we know that it is a scriptable object. I can't push everything in one time because, you know, we have to start the projects from somewhere. So graph schema, why are you not happy? You should find the namespace for me now. Graph schema. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so did I misspell it? Graph schema. Huh. Aren't you the same thing? GRA. Ah, there we go. It's G. Derp. There we go. Okay. So the only thing remaining is our GUI style utility that sits in here. And it's a static method as any other utility stuff, and import the namespace. So we have two GUI skins. So GUI skin, that is called dark skin, and it should be public, and it should be static, and public static GUI skin, that is light skin. So now we don't have any errors, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, and let me turn this guy on so we can take a look. Yep, no errors. Okay, cool. I have some things like this. I need ReSharper to shut up. What's wrong with you? Non-access field. Yeah, shut up. They will be accessed later. So there we go. I like to see this green check mark on top. Anyway, so now that we have our base view, inside our graph view editor, we can start adding stuff, basically. So what we want, first of all, and I need to close you, is a namespace for our view. What did I say? Yeah, view. One for our window, and one for our menu. So menu. Inside menu, I will have a class and I will call it Buzz menu. And it will be a partial, and you will see in future episodes why I did make this class a partial static class. Because in different projects, yeah, partial class. Or how did I do it? Oh no, the class is, no. Forget about it. Yeah. And I will make it partial, actually. Okay. So here we want a menu to show up. So menu item. And we put it inside Buzz / node graph / launch editor. And that would be it. So public static void init node graph, and we will say node editor window that we don't have yet, dot, and we call it init. Cool. So node editor window, as the name suggests, is a node editor window. It's an editor window. So here inside our editor window, we will add a class called this. It inherits from editor window. And in it, why did you keep it there? We will have a class, a method that is public static void init. If I build this guy and you go back to Unity, you would see a menu on top and blah blah blah. It will open an empty editor window. Whatever. Not yet. So what makes a window to show up? We say instance that we don't have yet equals to get window of type node editor window. And I didn't mean to do that. I mean to use this one. Bam. Then we say instance dot title content, and I need to make this actually. So public static node editor window instance. So yeah, it's a singleton. Instance dot title content equals to new GUI content, and all I care is node graph title. Then I say instance dot min size equals to new vector2 of 500 by 500. And then we say instance dot position equals to new rect, and this is how you set the window in the center of the screen in Unity. Okay, so we say screen dot current resolution dot width divided by 2 minus, now how much I want to go back is 500. Screen dot current resolution dot height divided by 2 minus 300. And then I assign the size of the window, so 1000 by 600. Remember, this is the minimum size. This is the actual size that I'm showing when I'm going to show the window. And then I will call a method that is called create views. Okay, so let's implement this method, and it has nothing yet. We will have a public void on GUI that we need to add later. And finally, we will have another method that it says void process events that accepts event. Okay, so this is our node editor window right now. Believe it or not, this part opens a window. On our GUI, we will call process event somewhere, and we generate some views for ourselves. But right now we don't have any views. So I will just stop in the views for this episode, and we will come to those views in next episode, and you'll see what will happen next. So we will have a node, what should I name it? Graph help view. Control Alt L, Alt insert, a graph property view. A graph status view. A graph toolbar view. And finally, a graph work view. Okay. Now, not surprisingly, all of them are inheriting from view view base. And why are you not seeing this guy? Huh. Using utility, okay, buzz dot utility dot editor dot editors view base. Come on, show up yourself. View base. Huh. Interesting. Well, sometimes it's happened for me before, and I'm not sure what is going on here. Dot. Ah, base view. Derp, derp, derp. Base view. Thank you, thank you. So, derp. Inherit from your important namespace. Thank you. And finally, the help view. Now, we still have time, so I will implement some parts of the window, and that is create view, and we will come back to the rest later on. So, in create views, we first check if instance does not equal to null. If that's the case, do something else. We want to do other things. So here we say instance dot tools view that we don't have yet equals to new tools view equals to new, sorry, graph of graph tools view toolbar view. Sorry, I was not able to type. So our work view equals to graph work view. Our property view equals to property view. Our help view equals to graph help view. And our status view equals to new status view. Okay? Else, we say instance, and we basically get this part. We don't create the view, we just create the window, because we don't have the window. We just want to make the window again. Okay? And that's it. Now we need to make these guys. So we say tool, no, sorry. And should I make them public? Yeah, public graph toolbar view. We call it toolbar view. Not tools view, no. Tools view. Work view. Work view. Property view. help view, status view for our status view. Okay, so in the onGUI method, you say if work view equals to null, or our tools view equals to null, type equals to null, or our property view equals to null, or our help view equals to null, or our status view equals to null. Then we want create views, and we want to return. After that, we say event derp Control X inside onGUI event, and we call it event equals to event.current. Now, from here, it's very important on how we handle things. We say work view dot update view with a new rect of position. Position means that the position of the window. Okay, dot width, comma, position dot height, comma, position dot width, comma, position dot height. Okay, then we want our percentage rect, so new rect, and why didn't it show up? I wonder. Anyway, a new rect of 0, so we start from the most left part, 0.05 f, so we move down 5% of the height. Then we use a view, let me type it capital, view h percentage. That's a constant that I will put in few seconds. This is 0.9 f. After that, we want the event to be sent in, and finally we say current graph schema that we don't have. Okay, let's make these two. So we have a public graph schema, and we called it current graph schema, and we have a private, so down, float that we call it view h percentage equals to 0.63 f, and we have a private common type private float view v percentage that is equals to 0.7 f. Okay, now this part is for future. So we want to draw our other toolbars, our other actually views. So we say work view instead of work view. Now we say tools view, update view, and this part is the same in all of them. The rest is the only thing that is changing is this percentage part. So 0 and 0. Instead, we go all the way to the right, and here we say it is 0.05f. Okay, so we use 5% of the height. After tools view, we have help view, and help view uses view horizontal percentage and view vertical percentage plus that 1 minus horizontal percentage and 0.9f minus view horizontal percentage. Am I correct? No, vertical percentage. There we go. After the help view, we have the property view. That says it's 0.95f oh no, sorry, before that a status view. Now this is 0.95f 1 and 0.5f. Okay, now the properties view is view horizontal percentage 0.5f 1 minus our horizontal and view vertical. Okay, after this we will say process events with the event, not process events with event. After that we repaint our window and we say if event dot type equals to repaint with capital R, then we say event.use. Now the only thing remaining that is really simple is our process events. So we say if event dot type equals to key down and event dot key code equals to left arrow, we want our view horizontal percentage minus equals to 0.01f. Then if it's right arrow, we want it to be plus 0.1f, and well, if it's up arrow, then we want our vertical to be minus, and if it's down arrow, we want to be plus, and we want it to be vertical. After that we want to clamp them, so if view horizontal percentage is less than 0, we say view horizontal percentage equals to 0. If view horizontal is greater than 1, we want view horizontal to be equal to 1. If view vertical is less than 0.003f, we want our view vertical to be equals to 0.003f. if view vertical is greater than 0.897 f, we want our view vertical to be equals to 0.897 f. Now, what did I do here? All I did is using two floats that I didn't make constant, but by using them inside my calculations for the percentage, basically I gave myself the ability to use left, right, up and down arrows to change the views here. So all remaining right now is to, come and do something to show these views. And for time being, inside base view, inside update view, at the end of the update view here, I will put a box, okay, with no style. All I'm doing is this. Draw a box for me with the calculated view rect. Now, let's build the solution. And one error. Node editor window. Yeah, import namespace. Build solution. There we go. So now, if I come back to Unity, it will import all of them. And I see my menu that I can launch, and something's not happy here. Well, what is wrong? We remember in our editor window, we had an on-GUI thing that we actually called it. Yeah, the thing is that, no, it should draw everything for me. Let me see. I don't get any errors. I don't get anything. I just get an empty window. Fun time. Yeah. What did I miss here? Init, we'll call init on-GUI. Okay. They are inherited right now from base view. So if I say public override my update view with base, it's redundant. Meh. Yeah, it's totally redundant, but why I'm not seeing this guy? Well, let me do it the way I did it before. So, there we go. You see, these guys are null. So put it there. Comment this guy for time being. Build solution. Unity is importing. Yep, something's there, but well, I'm derp. I'm derp. Take it out. Put it on top, else it will be zeroed out. Yeah. There we go. So we have our toolbar, work view, property view, help view, and status view. If I move left and right, because I'm using the horizontal view percentage value, I can make it this. This is vertical percentage value. And you see that it clamps itself. Okay, so I don't go above this tiny bit of numbers. And I can't go above 1, I can't go above below 0. So yeah. Now, why didn't I see it before? Well, if you'll take a look at this guy, the part that I commented is calling the get editor scheme, and this guy. Get editor scheme is calling these guys, and well, actually, it shouldn't interfere with anything, you know. That. Ah, yeah, view skin is still null because I'm returning null here. You see, if I derp, I'm derp. These guys are null. So instead, I can say scriptable object dot instantiate the type of a GUI skin. And why are you not happy now? Isn't dark skin, the GUI skin being a scriptable object? Yeah. Derp. Create instance of that. There we go. So I will change it in future, but just in time to make sure that my base view works the way it should. So Control X, put it below everything. Control X, put it back in place, and build, please. Come back. And I can tell that it's working. Yep. Now, what was going on was that my GUI side utility, well, when you create something and doesn't instantiate anything to it, basically they are null. And here I was checking if it's still null, then recursively call and return. So I would never ever hit this point. But now, for time being, with this, we are fixed. Okay? So we have our graph view editor, at least layout, and we will start adding more stuff one by one. I will start with implementing the base node and base graph, because without them, we can't go any farther. And we will have a node utility class that will help us generate graphs, nodes, etc. So until next episode, have fun everyone. Bye-bye.